Hello guys and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. Yes, as you can see, I'm back on camera. We are going to do these sit downs once in a while where we talk about varying things through the hobby. The one I last did on how wargaming helps my mental health. I got a lot of positive feedback on that, as in you guys reached out and said that you had very, very similar experiences. And I liked it. It certainly helped me out a lot more to know that other people were going through the same things. And, you know, sometimes when we do these videos, we're going to look at specific things, like maybe the Orc faction for 40k, or, you know, Colette for Malifaux, or, you know, the Dark Elf Blood Bowl team. And other times it will be just like this one, where it's just me just chatting to you guys. And it's from my point of view. And obviously if one of the other guys does one, it'll be from their point of view. But what I'm saying is, this isn't me saying this is a hard and fast rule why topic A needs to be done this way or anything like that. It's my take on it. And as you've seen from the title, you know, there's no dodging or dipping around it. You've read what the title of the video is. This one's about sticking to a project. Now, this video kind of all came about because we're now able to game again, which is fantastic. And we, you know, my gaming group have spent the whole of lockdown buying varying miniature games, painting them up, getting excited for them, and so we've kind of all rocked up with one of us wanting to play Legion, one of us wanting to play, you know, Blood Bowl, another wanting to play A Song of Ice and Fire, another wanting to play Stargrave, and so on and so forth. And so another wanting to play Necromunda, because we always want to play Necromunda. But yeah, my point obviously stands that, yeah, you know, you can't play them all at once. And we as hobbyists, we tend to always be chasing that new game. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of you already typing in the comments now, like, oh yeah, we're doing this, or, you know, we have this problem with our games. And it is, and Games Workshop take full advantage of that with their very quick release schedule, so that, you know, one thing comes out, you buy it, you build it, you start to paint it, the next thing's already there and you have to have it. And we fall for it every time. Of course we do, because we're hobbyists and that's what we do. So this is just a few little things that you could do to maybe stop that, to stay focused. So the first one is decide as a gaming group what you're going to play. If you're a solo player, that's absolutely fine, and most games now have a solo rule set, and, you know, we can thank COVID for that, I guess. Thanks, maybe? But yeah, so because of, obviously, lockdown and everything like that, a lot of rule systems got a solo game, so if that's the case, it's not such a worry. You know, you just buy what you want and you can play with it. But it's no good me getting excited over Necromunda if my mate I'm going to play with is excited over Blood Bowl. So you have to compromise somewhere along the way. Whether that's that you agree to each get a Blood Bowl team and each get one Necromunda gang and kind of alternate. We play my game one week, we play another. But you have to decide, because ultimately if you're building and painting these models and you want someone to play with, you've got to have somebody to play with. And that's why a lot of the game systems I buy and get excited for never get covered on the channel outside of the unboxing and painting stage, because it'll just be a game that doesn't interest our gaming group, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so point one would be to agree what you guys are going to play. So we'll use my group as an example, because there's 6 of us occasionally. Obviously there's more, but the standard is the 6 of us. And we all like different games. And so we're all going to decide on, you know, maybe 1 or 2 games. At the minute, Blood Bowl's a big one for us. And we're also playing Legends of the Old West, which is an old Games Workshop historical game. You guys know it. I've covered it on the channel before. We're covering it quite heavily on the channel in a new way, and it's kind of to prompt us back into gaming. And not all of us are taking part in that, but there's enough of us taking part that we've got a good mix, whilst the other half of the group can do other things. So yeah, so as a group, we've compromised on what we want to play. And it happens to be the game I want to play, but that's sheer coincidence, I promise. I've not bullied them. Alan will tell you otherwise in the comments, of course he will. But yeah, so that would lead me on to part 2, or, you know, point 2, which is plan what you're going to use. Now, you're going to need your army books, or if it's a game with a free army builder or something like that, you're definitely going to need that. So before you buy a single model, plan your army. Now, you can only do this roughly. Age of Sigmar being a good example. No, Age of Sigmar 40k being a good example, because they're both very accessible games. You can pick them up on the high street. Plan a small force, like we're going to play to 500 points or 20 power level or 25 power level or whatever you want, and agree within your group, this is what we are going to be playing. Cool. Now I can write my list. Sit down with your army book or your app or, Battle Scribe or whatever it is you crazy kids are using these days, and plan out what you are going to use in your army based on how you want to play. Obviously, if you're using orcs and you want to use all, speed freaks stuff, that's really easy. Just, plan a list around speed freaks. If you want to take a very mech heavy army, again, orcs, because we're on the same subject, you would just plan your dreads and things like that around it accordingly. And then you would go and purchase those models. And you would build those models so that you can use them for playing, obviously. And then you would paint them one unit at a time, or, in batches at a time. So when I'm painting orc boys, for instance, I paint them in batches of 5, because I find any more than that to be really boring. But what I don't want to do, obviously, is get bored halfway through. So yeah, point 1, plan what you guys are going to play. Point 2 is plan what you are going to use. And then week 3, what I find really helps is set yourself deadlines. So going back to Blood Bowl, because that's what we're doing at the minute. You can paint up a team realistically in a week if you wanted to, but if you're a slow painter, it's absolutely fine. Just set yourself a task. I want to paint 1 Blood Bowl model every 2 days, for instance, or I want to get, a section of these models. So it might be I want to do all the skin on these models within a set time that's realistic for you. Don't set a time that's not going to be realistic, because that's pointless. So don't be like, I'm going to paint 10 Blood Bowl models a day. You're not going to get it done. You're going to get disheartened. But yeah, so plan what you're going to paint. Obviously, if you paint more than that, that's brilliant. And just set yourself a little bit of time a day. I know we have busy lives. We have kids. We have jobs. We have schooling. We have socializing with friends. Now we're actually physically allowed to leave the house. And it is, I would say that's very important now that we can get out and about. To get out and about, as long as it's safe to do so, wearing masks in place where you need to wear masks, you're sanitizing and stuff, because we are social creatures, even miserable old gits like me. I'm a social creature, and it's important. It really is, absolutely, 100% is super important. And this hobby, has a very big social aspect, so go game with your friends, go game in your local gaming clubs, support them. They've been struggling a lot financially, because they've been closed. But yeah, so set a realistic task, set yourself a realistic goal, and I like to say half an hour of painting a night, and that works as well. Instead of setting like a model or the skin on 10 models, or all the metal on these 5 orcs, half an hour a night maybe. And if you paint longer than that, brilliant, but try to do half an hour a night till it becomes habit forming. And I know a lot of you don't like painting, and that's cool. And if you don't want to paint your models, fine. You can skip the painting step completely. But for those who do want to paint their army, whether they like painting or they just want to get it done, there's ways around it. Base coat, wash, and a highlight, dry brushing, contrast paints. There's loads of different ways, and you'll find a YouTube channel for you that's going to talk you through that. I would definitely check it out. If there's, maybe stuff you want us to cover, we maybe do that as well. Let us know in the comments. But yeah, so you've now decided what you're going to play with your friends. You've got your list. You've set your task. You're not going to buy anything else until that 500 points, 25 power levels, Necromunda gang, 10 Stargrave models are painted up. You've set yourself your time frames. You're going to stick to your half an hour a night. That's absolutely fine. You're playing games in between, because again, like we said, that's really important. Use that part of the hobby. Enjoy it. It's really important that if you're not liking a project, though, not to force yourself through it. And I know that feels like a bit of a contradiction to everything else I've just said, but hear me out. So you want to play Dark Eldar for 40k because you love the Dark Eldar models, and I get it, they're beautiful models. But then you play with them twice, and you do not like the play style. That's absolutely fine. Don't prosper on with models that you hate. Like, oh, I like to paint them, but I really don't like to game with them. Now, if you want to paint them up just because you like the models, that's cool. But if you don't, feel free to move on. And by that, I don't just mean put them in a cupboard and forget about them for 10 years. You can do that. That's cool. And that's what I do, because I never like to get rid of stuff. But yeah, there's, eBay, there's Troll Trader, there's Facebook groups. Swap them with your friends, or your mate, he actually really wants Dark Eldar, and he's got a load of Marines that he bought, but he doesn't like. He doesn't like how they play or whatever. Trade them. They're your models. Trade them. Get your usage out of it. But what you should really do is you should find an army, a gang, a team, some cars if you're playing Gaslands that suit you, that you enjoy. Get them up to the standard you want for painting, and then play with them. It's really easy to move on to the next thing, and I know now there's a lot of limited edition stuff, a lot of Kickstarters that get these 200 extra models that you'll never get anywhere else, and of course it's fine to sink money into that. And if you want to just do what we said at the start, just do that. That's absolutely fine. If the way you want to hobby, because it's your hobby, do it how you want, is just to buy models each month, build them, half paint them, never use them, and move on to the next game, that is cool. You do you. This video isn't about lecturing you and telling you how you should do your hobby. As I said, it's from my point of view, some tips on how you can stay on track. And that's what these have been so far. As I said, build your list, keeps you on track. Decide what games you're going to play, keeps you on track. Plan your list, keeps you on track. Only buy those models, keeps you on track. Paint them up before you buy new models, again, keeping you on track. Once you've got your 500 points of orcs, say, I'm going to jump to orcs because that's currently what I'm working on. I'm working on a 25 power level. So I keep referring to it because this is what I'm doing presently. It is something that I'm trying to practice as well as preach. And it's hard for me because I do love chasing the new big game. But yeah, so once you've got your 25 power level, your team, etc., as I keep saying, fully painted, and you've played with it, and you like them, and you're happy, that's when you start thinking about, right, what do I want to add next to this? And you just repeat the cycle. Obviously, you don't need to decide what game you're playing, unless you are going to move on to a new game. And that, again, is cool. I fully encourage it. There's a load of good gaming companies out there. Malifaux's a good game. Drop for Elite, Drop Zone, Rumble, Slam. If I was going to list all the ones that we like to play, as you've seen from our playlists, we play a lot of games, I'd be here all day. But there's so many out there, and there's something for you. But yeah, so you've got your 25 power level fully painted up, and you and your friends now want to play bigger games. Just pick the next level. We're now going to 1,000 points or 50 power level. Plan your list, buy the models, build them, play with them as they painting them. Paint them up, setting yourself a goal, half an hour a night, one model a night, whatever that may be, and keep on track. Now, there are going to be times you've got yourself a big stack of models, and you want to move on to the next game. That's cool. What I would always suggest is get yourself a games case. I like the brown cardboard cases from KR, but you can pick whatever games case is going to be good for you. Store your models neatly away. Label them up so you know what they are. Then you and your friends, whatever, move on to the next game and repeat said steps. That way, when you do want to play with your orcs again, or you want to play with that Blood Bowl team again, you've got a case there ready. It's labeled up. You can just take it out. Keep the list. I always like to write my lists on paper because I can keep them in my games case, so I can open it up and be like, cool, I This was a 1,000-point army. I've painted 800 points of it. I'm going to get back to it. I know where I'm at with it. But yeah, as I say, I didn't want this to be a preachy video, and it's probably coming across a bit preachy, and I apologise. It was just something that I wanted to cover because it gets brought up a lot, and as I said, it's something our games club are currently going through now, where we've bought a lot of different games and we want to be playing a lot of different things, but we only have a finite amount of time, as I said earlier in the video. And as you guys know, like I'm preaching stuff you already know. We only have a finite amount of time. You can only play so many games. You can only paint so many models. If I was to paint for 15 hours a day, non-stop, for the rest of my life, I probably would not get all the models I own painted. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. And I will continue to buy models. Of course I will. But what we start to do then is we start to get disheartened. As I said, I've got bookcases of shame, boxes of shame. I've got a loft of shame. And I am trying to work through them. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm picking a project and I'm following the steps that we just talked about. And if you do that and it works for you, that's brilliant. If it doesn't, of course, just go back to what you were doing. But as this video is, it's just giving you some potential help, and again, it's probably stuff you already know. It's just sometimes helps to have a nerd like me reinforce it for you. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it as there because I mean I could go way more in depth about other things that we do and plan and stuff, and maybe a second part of this video is needed, but I think just a few little easy steps really helps. I mean, the video's clocking on for 17 minutes now, so I don't want to waffle much longer. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, that's fantastic. Leave a comment down below, let us know. Obviously, all our social medias are in the description bar, so if you like Nate's painting, go check him out. If you want to see what Sparks is painting, he's over on Twitter. You know, we have a Rage Against the Dice Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You know, we're all over the social medias. Obviously, I've got my own, which is my craft and sheep. Alan doesn't really post models, so his is there, but it's more food based. So if you like food, definitely check it out. But yeah, guys, like, share, subscribe. Check out some of our other videos, as we've got a ton of other content on the channel. If there's videos that you want to see us cover, or there's topics that you want us to cover, let me know in the description below. And other than that, pray the dice gods hope they smile upon you, and take care, guys, and obviously wash your hands.